can perform till I'm blue in the face, to myself or to a camera or in the studio, but you're missing part of the equation if there isn't an audience there. And the audience isn't stupid. They respond with their instinct, and instinct is always right. I can't fool anybody in a live show. If they like it, then I know straight away that they like it. And if they don't, well, I'll know that as well, but at least they're being honest, and that's something that is really important for me to develop. I see myself as a performer. In many states. What I like and what interests me is the challenge of being able to perform in different ways, in different places, and have to adapt myself to make it work, which brings out different sides of me as a performer. But I think that live performance is the ultimate in performance, because I find that I have to draw on all the experience I've ever had. G'day mate, come on, let's get on with it. We haven't got all day, I've got a very big day ahead.
Kylie Minogue, pop star, actress, sex siren, girl next door, cover girl, soap star, singing budgie, pint-sized pop puppet, disco diva, pop princess, pocket Venus, part-time exhibitionist, alien, show pony, dancing queen, drag queen. For over a decade, the media's been saturated with endless images of this unique figure. She's been loved and loathed, revered and reviled, adored and abhorred. Hers is a career of contradiction, of constant evolution, of construction and subsequent deconstruction. Through defiance and deference, she invents and reinvents her self-image, at the same time maintaining a shield between her public and private persona.
Deconstruction was an independent a couple of months before we signed with them, and then they sold to BMG. So they're actually an independent within a very big multinational. So I figured we had the advantages of the strong, independent, creative indie label with the strength and the power of a big multinational. And that's what we went to them for.
Early expectations were that we'd put her on a set of house records, for want of a better description, with maybe a bit of a techno edge. I actually wanted to take that much further. So, for example, we engaged Brothers in Rhythm, but instead of doing straight dance tracks with them, we came up with Confide in Me, which is actually based on a loop from a song by The Doors, The End, which is about as edgy a track as ever has existed.
I think, if I'm honest about Confide in Me, I think we were looking at stylistically, there were a couple of songs, I mean, you know, obviously Madonna's Justify My Love was a very kind of big example, and also Erotica were both, you know, good examples of those great mid-tempo songs that are a bit classic and a bit classy. But just to actually have a sense of grandiose, but also kind of mix it with a contemporary feel.
Should I offer some assistance? Should it matter who you are?
Just giving Kylie the opportunity to write more, giving her the opportunity to experiment with different producers and songwriters. And it was a plan in that let's give every opportunity we can to her to see what is the best we can get out of this.
At the time I couldn't see the point of going to a different record company and doing something similar to what I had been doing. Otherwise I would have stayed there. And Deconstruction were quite underground dance, and I liked their attitude. They were somewhat arrogant as well, and that attracted me. I met with a few different companies and it just clicked with them.
We were engaged in re-engineering the image of Kylie Minogue. It struck me that for her to modernise and move on, she had to take some risks musically and show her more creative side, because she always struck me as a very creatively driven individual. She was portrayed by Peter Buell on occasions as a puppet. She was far from that in any meeting that I had with her or ever have had with her.
What has been really quite difficult over the years is people asking me about change. For me, there's nothing to explain about change. Change is like, it's like breathing to me. It's that important, and that relates to the boredom thing as well. That's what stimulates me. That's what intrigues me. Is the unknown. What will happen next, and what will this lead to?
Clever girl.
Kylie embraced her changing images in Pedro Romani's video for Did It Again. It featured 4 caricature Kylies parodying the media's need to label her.
And that's something that I've had to, in my own little way, fight against for years and years and years, to be able to be different versions of myself, or just be, actually, I'll correct myself, just be myself. And I'm not one thing or another. Within the marketplace, you need to get a message across in about 4 words. So therefore, you're reduced to being a soundbite, and they have to choose which soundbite you're going to be. So you're this Kylie or that Kylie, or whatever the case may be.
The sun's out!
You know, if someone's channel surfing, they're going to see you for 2 seconds. What you look like, your image, is going to be the first thing that attracts them, whether they decide to keep channel surfing or not. So yeah, it's extremely important.
I love Kylie because she loves very magical, sparkly things. My clothes are very magical and very sparkly. Lots of crystal, which is a kind of a joke between me, William, and Kylie. But I say crystal with a Welsh accent.
There's no crystals underneath.
I'm learning that we could all wear exactly the same thing, but we will all wear it differently. So fashion and style are 2 completely different things. It's great to have that fresh injection of fashion, and you know, you've got something different to kind of entertain yourself or project yourself in a different manner. Denmark. Someone gave them to me. But obviously what's more important than that is style. And style can be a kind of veneer as well. How do you define what style is? It's an essential part of who you are, whether you're aware of it or not.
Kylie she's just one of those girls that looks good in anything. I mean, she wears clothes particularly well. I mean, everything has to be altered for her, but, you know, she carries clothes well, and it's not a case of, you know, the clothes carrying the person. She carries the clothes, and I think, you know, she embodies that classic beauty, grace, dignity of that most models can kind of dream of, really. Do you know what I mean? So she's the perfect clothes horse.
There was a point where I did want to look good because I was constantly reminded of not looking good. I might look back at this and in 10 years' time and think, oh my God, what was I thinking? It's so cute! For a girl who started out with very little fashion sense at all, it's quite amazing. God, if I think of it that way, with my grandma teaching me how to sew, use the sewing machine and knocking up things out of scraps of material that I would buy from the market. It's quite funny.
And when the lights go down and the sparkle comes from the sky, it's lit with a Kylie Minogue star, because that's what she is. And I think that, you know, she should be so lucky, but she is very lucky. Well, that's absolutely fantastic.
I am the Green Fairy.
I met Kylie about 9 years ago, I was working in Vivienne Westwood.
He was working as a shop boy in a Westwood store.
As a shop assistant.
I think Willie and a lot of other people dress vicariously through me. It's one of my dearest friends. Air Kisses dying. And has been for a number of years.
This is my little Kylie doll.
He accosted me. Basically, he accosted me.
I'd always really wanted to work with her, and I remember seeing her ironing on the TV when I was at school in the video. I think it was What Do I Have to Do or something. And I just thought she was incredible. She was like this transformation overnight from Charlene into this kind of sex siren, screen goddess kind of persona, and I just thought she was fantastic. So from my desk at Westwood, I called Deconstruction and asked if she had a stylist.
I agreed to go and have coffee with him. We sat down, he did all the talking, and nothing's changed.
He's best friends, although we hardly ever see each other as friends. She gets a bit shirty about, darling, I never see you. You see me all the time.
Obviously, when you spend so much time in each other's pockets, it's kind of inevitable. But, you know, there's a genuine affection there, do you know what I mean?
I bought him his first sewing kit.
After the success of her first Deconstruction album, definitively entitled Kylie Minogue, Kylie re-entered the studio to write and record her most introspective album to date, Impossible Princess.
At the time, I was quite fixated with words and how they sounded, and I liked the way that Impossible Princess sounded, and I guess I related to it at the time as well, because I was being quite impossible, not for other people but for myself, because it wasn't really an easy time for me then, and I was asking an awful lot of myself. So Impossible Princess is more about complexity and contradiction. It took about 2 years, and for someone who likes to get things done fairly swiftly, it was difficult, and I didn't expect to be that involved and to have that much weight upon my shoulders at the time.
It was a really hard time for her. Her whole Stock Aitken and Waterman period, especially the early part, was a source of great embarrassment for her. You know, she had the puppet label to deal with that you know, it's quite a hard thing to deal with, I think, you know, when you're famous, you know. She was famous and no one actually thought she really had any talent. You know, it was a time of contradiction, of, you know, confused identity. She didn't know who she was, and she didn't really know who she wanted to be or what she wanted to be. Impossible Princess was a time where it was like, it was almost breaking point for Kylie.
It wasn't a good time. It's the old cliche, isn't it? You can write when you're unhappy, or when you're distressed. And I did, just went finished. It was a really good test and learning curve for me, personally and professionally.
First Deconstruction album had been successful, but it hadn't been as successful as her early stuff. So, you know, there was the whole thing that she was growing up, and you know, kind of pushing her image all the time and kind of pushing her music.
I regard it as a creative success, but creative successes aren't always commercial successes. But in retrospect, how often they are seen